Hello everyone, my name is Yvette Pegues and welcome to disAbilityLifeTV. Today we have a very special guest. We're going to talk a little bit about himself and how he contributes to the disability community. Disability Life was put together and we're just excited about BizLink sponsoring us and supporting us on their network and having a conversation about the life of disability. Now, here's what's interesting about today's show. My guest does not have a disability, but he's very much connected to disability life. So, with no further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Lindsay Turner.
Hello,
How are
Yvette.
you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Amazing. I'm so happy to finally have you on the show. Let's talk a little bit about how we met.
Sure.
Or we didn't meet.
Right.
So, we met at an autism conference, kinda.
Sort of a little pass by. Real
Exactly,
quick, yeah.
exactly. Then you had a birthday, and I
Yes.
sent a birthday celebration icon, right, on Facebook.
Right.
And then we just connected. You met me at one of my speaking engagements at
Kennesaw
Kennesaw.
State. Yep.
And when we took the time to actually have a conversation, we had so much more in common than we thought.
Definitely. Yes.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, Lindsay.
So I am a Georgia native. I've been here my whole life, which
You're
is
a
very
peach.
rare.
You're a
Yes,
peach.
I am.
A peach, everyone.
And so I've been here my whole life. I went to Milton High School in Alpharetta, and then I went to Kennesaw State University and graduated from there in 2003.
Okay.
And now I've just been here and working and trying to have an impact in the communities that I live in.
Well, we'll get to that. I'm excited about your impact. So what was your major at KSU?
So my major was Health and Human Services, but in all honesty, I actually got a D in calculus, and I was called into the counselor's office to say I had to declare a major, and I finally said, listen, I have a scholarship, but calculus is killing me. So tell me what I can take. That'll take my D in calculus, and Health and Human Services was one of the options, and I thought, hey, that sounds interesting enough for 2 years of my life. We'll give it a shot. And
Yes.
that's where we ended up. So.
Okay, so calculus. We'll talk about that on another show. So tell me about what you did after. What was your career like?
Sure. So after college, I was actually in the music industry and had managed a few bands while I was in college. And really my approach to college was, let me get this piece of paper and get on with my life.
Right.
And the Health and Human Services Department definitely changed my life. It taught me a lot of things that I was never aware of just about living in our society and our communities. But after college, I stayed within the music business and ended up working with some pretty large companies about music distribution and licensing and different things. And I had the great pleasure of working with some very famous people that we know. I was actually at Hugh Hefner's birthday party
Stop.
in Las Vegas.
Stop. Did I just hear you say Hugh Hefner?
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about that occasion.
So it was very unique. It was something unexpected, but a company I was working for had us connected to his company, and I was out in Los Angeles one day working with some of his staff, and they said, hey, why don't you come to his birthday party this
How old
weekend?
was he? Well, how old was he?
He was 81.
81st birthday of Hugh
Yes.
Hefner. My goodness, you'll have to Google Hugh. This is going to be really funny when you figure it out. Go ahead.
So, but just being in that environment and being in the music industry, the dream was always to get to the big stage or take an artist to the big stage and get that spotlight. And just after being around the celebrities and these people that so many of us look up to, it was actually after Hugh Hefner's birthday party, and I had taken some pictures, and I was on my flight home and was looking through some of the pictures and noticed a certain celebrity who I've never said who it was, but she just looked absolutely miserable.
Oh, wow.
And so it just made me realize, is this whole dream that I've been chasing of the rich and fame really all that glamorous and all that great? And it was shortly after that that I chose to leave the music industry, and I went to a very boring software selling job of selling SAP software, and then within that chose to start a nonprofit to help children and families with special needs and disabilities, and just had that kind of carry on, and just realizing that there was so much more to life than just going after riches and fame.
So we just said a lot here. Actually, Lindsay just said a lot here. But you graduated from KSU,
Mm-hmm.
Health and Human Services, then you went into kind of the music industry, and you paid attention to what you were seeing, and what you see when you're in that space wasn't exactly what you thought it would be. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Right, exactly.
And what happened next? Because you came back to Georgia, worked for a software company. I'm very familiar with SAP. So I'm wondering, coming from SAP, which is more financial, right? How did you now get into the business of people, kind of a care service industry, which is what I kind of think you do?
Sure. So after being a part and having the nonprofit, and we were putting on all these great events for children and families with special needs. I mean, some of our events are small crowds, and some of them are large crowds, up to 2,000 people or 300 families. And so being a part of that and working with the families and just seeing the joy that we could bring them through a free event, a free carnival, a free movie,
Right.
and also just learning how to treat individuals who might be different than us. And more so, what's so important to me is teaching our volunteers how to treat, individuals who might be different than us.
So are we talking about Golden Soldiers here?
That is correct, yes.
Tell us a little bit about Golden Soldiers.
Sure. So the Golden Soldiers is a nonprofit organization where we host events and activities for families and children with special needs. And so we'll do things all throughout the year of free sensory-friendly movie events, free carnivals, free bowling.
Wow.
We'll do different support groups. We have a dad support group called Man Cave.
Wow.
And it makes the dads feel really good to say they get to go to Man Cave. And
Right.
we'll meet in a sports bar and just kind of hang out and let dads get to know each other and learn what each one is going through. And so after doing that for so long and meeting these families, and we've been doing the Golden Soldiers now for 8 years.
Wow.
And there was a moment when I started getting phone calls from families back in 2014, right at the beginning of the year, and they were asking me why was it that they were treated so well at our events, but felt like when they went out in public on their own, they didn't necessarily get that same treatment. And so after exploring a little bit about what they, were talking to me about, I asked them if I could come out with them and
Wow.
experience life with them and see it through their eyes.
Okay. So if you don't mind my circling back just a little bit,
Sure.
sensory friendly. That to me is a very important piece of what you're doing. Can you explain what sensory friendly exactly means?
Sure. So when we do a sensory-friendly movie event, what that means is the lights aren't as bright, the sound's not as loud. We also skip the preview, so it makes the movie 20 minutes shorter
Wow.
for the families to be able to sit in there. And then kind of my favorite part is we tell the families, hey, your children are allowed to run, shout, scream, dance, do whatever they want to in this movie theater.
During the movie.
Right.
Wow.
And so they're in there with other families, so everybody understands and no one's going to tell them, hey, you need to quiet your child down, or we're trying to watch this. And it kind of just gives the parents a chance just to relax while they get to see their kids enjoying, movies. And
Right.
it's one of those small things that not a lot of us think about, the
Right.
privilege that we get to go to. And, we've had families write us before and tell us this was the first time they ever saw their son who has a special need with their daughter who does not in a movie together.
Wow.
And just getting to experience those things. We also do all sorts of fun Christmas stuff. In just a couple of weeks, we're doing a big event with Santa Claus, and we do free family photos. And,
Wow.
a couple of years ago, I met a mom who asked if she could speak to me at this event, and she comes over and gives me this hug and starts crying and says, this is the first time my daughter ever got to get a picture with Santa Claus, and her daughter was 15 years old.
In 15 years?
And you just think about the chaos of our malls and how loud and crowded and noisy. And so for us to just be able to provide these experiences is what I love doing. And it's been, such a great thing because the Golden Soldiers, we run it in a way to where we're all volunteers and we basically say, hey, whatever money we raise, we'll put it right back into these events and try to do some great things. And so it's awesome knowing that we're directly impacting families and giving them something to look forward to. And we try to keep everything free or at a very minimal cost for families to come to.
I'm very interested in the name Golden Soldiers.
Sure.
I understand there's a funny story behind that. Do you mind sharing that with us?
No, not at all. So I had a great friend who he is now back in the U.S. and he is safe, but he was a soldier in the Army.
Okay.
And he had called me up one day to let me know that he was having to return to war in Iraq. And it was a very big deal because his first tour of duty was very dangerous. And it was kind of understood if he went and came back, he wouldn't have to go again. And sure enough, he ended up having to go back. And so he calls me and I'm sitting in our wonderful Atlanta traffic that we have here.
Yes.
And he calls to let me know that he was having to return. And during our conversation, it's almost childish and the story's not even all that great. But I said to him, wasn't there something called the golden rule that we all learned when we were in kindergarten? And why is it that we are taught this at such a young age to treat others how we want to be treated, and then as we become adults, it seems to morph into survival of the fittest? And I said to him, wouldn't it be amazing if we could remind everybody what the golden rule means, to treat others how you want to be treated? And so kind of out of nowhere, I say to him, you know what, when you go back to war, I'm going to start a nonprofit.
Wow.
And he always called me Turner, and he's going, Turner, what are you talking about? I said, no, I think I can do this. It's what my degree was in. I'll figure it out. And he goes, well, what are you going to call it? I said, well, I'll call it Golden something for the Golden Rule. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'll call it Golden Soldiers,
Wow.
since you're a soldier in the Army. And so, although there is sometimes confusion about what we do, and we've even debated changing our name, all the families we serve, they say, you better not change the name because we're your Golden Soldiers.
Wow.
And so now it's just kind of become its own identity, and the people who need to know what we do know what we do. And so it's just a great thing.
I love that story because it pays homage to our military families and disability community, and those specific families who said to you, we are your Golden Soldiers.
Right.
So thank you for keeping the name.
Yes, you're welcome.
Now, I don't want to go too much further without talking about your amazingly beautiful bride. Can we talk a little bit about how you guys met?
Definitely.
Okay.
So my wife Melanie, we have been married now for 9 years.
Wow.
We met my junior year of college, and we started dating a month before I graduated college.
Wow.
And so we have been together since, and it's been just an awesome experience. Both of us were very fortunate to do very well in corporate America soon after graduating, and then within a year apart, we both decided to quit corporate America, and she now works for Children's Healthcare of Atlanta at Scottish Rite.
Yay!
And then we have the nonprofit and the other business, and so it's just been, a great partnership and a great way for us just to support each other, even though, I will tell everybody quitting corporate America and working for nonprofits has its own struggles as well, but the end reward and the lives that you get to impact, makes it a whole lot more meaningful. And I always feel we all end up at a point in our lives when we're no longer asking ourselves, what are we doing, but rather, why are we doing it?
I love that.
And when you get to that point when you can't really answer the why, it might be time to start looking for something else to do. And I think we both got to that point of, why are we doing this? Why am I selling software? Why was she doing what she was doing? And how can we impact lives and really, make a difference while we're here?
What an incredible shift. It wasn't even just a professional shift. It seemed almost like an emotional and a intentional shift. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring up Melanie, not only because she's your wonderful wife, but I had the pleasure of working with her through volunteer services at Children's. Again, our connection was just meant to be, and Melanie Turner is just absolutely amazing. I hope you're watching. Hi, Melanie, and thank you for all your help with setting me up with volunteer services at Children's Hospital. But isn't it incredible how both of you are still in a care industry? You both come out of corporate and end up in a care industry, because what she does at Children's, setting up events for babies up to the age of 22, I think?
I believe so.
Up to 22. So 0 to 22, these children are coming in and they're hurting. And she's helping them through her services. And ironically enough, so are you. So I want to talk a little bit about our seating arrangement. Now, while both of our seats have wheels, that is not his permanent form of transportation. I'm in a wheelchair. Lindsay Turner is not. Now, the name of my organization is Your Invisible Disability. So, for the sake of our viewers, do you have a visible or an invisible disability? One you can see, or possibly one you can't just by looking at you?
Right. As far as I know, no. So, some other people might disagree, but right, so no.
So, I just wanted to make that point only because you are knee-deep in a community that I have been forced into just 3 or 4 years ago. But you don't have a disability. Tell me about maybe family members, someone close to you. Have you known anyone with a disability?
I have, to be honest, I have a cousin who the easiest way to say is that she has epilepsy and some other brain disorders. And it's, up until recently, we've been so distant. And, so it would be unfair if I said she was the inspiration behind it. And for me, it was, other than just saying that it is something that you felt called to do, and it's kind of that moment when you are standing there and you're like, there should be more events for children with special needs.
Wow. Someone
Someone should do that. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, maybe I'm that someone. And, I have a strong belief, and you even said it kind of with what you just said, but I have friends who have been in car accidents who, had brain damage. I've had friends who have fallen downstairs and they can no longer walk. And so I always tell people we are all just one car accident, one fall down our steps, of not knowing of what our life could be. And so I find it so important to try to do things for others. And I talk to a lot of young people, and I tell them it's so easy for us to get caught up in fighting for our own freedoms and our own rights.
Wow.
But it's a whole different meaning when you choose to go fight for someone else's freedoms and their rights. And that's one of the things that, I really just believe in is we should all have this life, and regardless of our abilities, where we get treated with love and acceptance no matter where we are or who we are.
Right. I love that about you. So I need to ask you another question. You used the word called. You used the word what you were meant to do.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right in saying that you're a pastor?
I would call myself a guest preacher.
Explain that for me. A guest preacher? Tell me about that.
So I did not go to seminary or any of those sorts of things. I'm just, in 2008, I lost 4 people in my life in about a 90-day period.
Wow.
And caused me to realize maybe I needed to learn a little bit more and have a better relationship with God and Jesus. And so within doing that, as time went on, I got asked one time at the last minute if I could fill in for the preacher at the church we were going to.
Wow.
And I thought, why not? And so I did it, and then that has just led to more and more opportunities to, spread the word and just tell people some of the things that I've learned and how to apply them in your life.
As a man of faith, I'd like to get into that a little more, but I think we need to take a break to thank our sponsors. This is so amazing. Please hang in, hang out, stay tuned, don't move. We'll be right back after we thank our sponsors.
What happens when soldiers come home? Brene Foundation offers hero support to ensure that our heroes abroad can continue to be heroes at home. We link veterans with organizations who are dedicated to guiding the transition from military hero to civilian hero. If you want to find out how you can support our troops at home, please contact the Brene Foundation or visit Brene.com.
Does your son need a more challenging, focused, and encouraging educational environment? Renaissance Christian Academy is an affordable private school for boys located in McDonough, Georgia, with certified teachers that are uniquely equipped to help your son master learning. You're welcome to schedule a tour of our facilities by calling 770-305-9881 or by visiting our website at rcaboysacademy.org. Renaissance Christian Academy, developing young men to be great leaders through Christ-centered learning.
Welcome back. My name is Yvette Pegues, and we are here at Disability Life TV. Our guest today is Lindsay Turner. Before the break, we talked about Pastor Lindsay Turner, if I can call him that. Let's pick up where we left off. Tell me about the wedding.
Sure. So just 2 weeks ago, I had the privilege of officiating my sister's wedding.
Wow.
And then 2 weeks before that, it was a good friend and fraternity brother of mine and his now wife. I officiated their wedding, so that's been a great experience and a lot of fun and a lot of pressure for friends and family. So I'm ready to do some strangers' weddings now. Yeah.
Okay, so tune in and contact Mr. Turner if you need someone to officiate your wedding. Pastor Turner, let's talk about your new and exciting program. It's actually a company. Is it nonprofit or is it profit?
So we refer to it as a social enterprise. In all technicalities, it would be considered a for-profit company.
Nice
but
balance.
Already having a nonprofit understanding corporate America with the social enterprise, you're kind of able to pull in the best of both worlds into one organization. And so, although it is considered a for-profit, but what we do is to impact and change society, which is where the term social enterprise comes about.
So the company we're talking about now is SNC. Tell us about Special Needs Certified.
Sure. So Special Needs Certified all came about when, families, like I was telling you before, were asking us, how they got treated so great at Golden Soldier events. And so with that and talking to them and then learning more about what they were experiencing when they went out in public. And I went to the mall with families, to movies with families, to restaurants with families, just to experience what they experienced. And my, comment back to them was at the end, and part of it is so I don't lose my faith in humanity, is that people aren't necessarily purposely trying to be malicious or rude. It's a lot of times they're just uneducated about what to say or how to say it, or what do I do if, and fill in the blank. And so after families were talking to me about this, saying, we need more businesses to understand how to treat individuals with special needs and disabilities. And they were asking what we did on the Golden Soldier side, and I said, we do a 30-minute orientation. We make sure all our volunteers are ready to go. They know how to show everybody love and acceptance. They know the things to say, the things not to say. And kind of in that moment, it was an all of a sudden type of thing of, maybe we should create a program to where we can educate businesses. And so that's just what we did, and we basically, in a sense, have created the Yelp for special needs. And so it is a website where you can go search for, whether you're looking for a speech therapist or you're looking for, your favorite restaurant or movie theater, you can find it all in this one place and know that at least when you go there, their staff and employees are going to know how to treat you and make you feel welcomed that you're there.
I hope you're hearing exactly what's taking place here. Most of you may or may not know exactly what SNC does, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But what I want you to hear and understand is in 2015, we're celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. That's ADA. So in 25 years, the fact that we still need training in a business setting on how to treat people with disabilities is alarming to me, and which is why I really wanted you to go into a little bit more detail about that, because if you or a member of your family has a special need and you've been somewhere and been treated differently, this should resonate with you. And even if you haven't, it should definitely resonate with you. We won't talk about it in this episode, but there's a disability economics as a business owner that each and every one of us should understand. But more importantly, before you even get in the door, there's no universal sign on anyone's door saying we are trained or accept people with disabilities. That wheelchair sign that we see on the parking spaces does not exist in the windows or doors of the businesses prior to our showing up. So in my case, I have to pick up the phone. Do you have a ramp? Do you have accessible common areas? I have to do a lot of front end work before I go anywhere in my wheelchair and with my invisible disabilities. 25 years after our first President Bush signed the Americans with Disabilities Act. So what you're doing is brilliant, and how you're doing it is really exciting to me. And I'd like you to share with our viewers, how do you connect businesses and people to your program? Your SNC program.
Sure. So the best way for users who want to use our service, and when we say users, we mean individuals or families with a special need or disability, is you can go to specialneedscertified.com. You can also now download our mobile app that we just launched the other day. So we have an app now for iPhone and Android. And you can sign up, you can go check it out, you can search for places. So again, like if you're looking for an occupational therapist, or maybe you're just looking for a church to go to, a city to go to even, or a movie theater, is you can find all those different places on our website. You can also share your experience with us. And what's great about that is you can share an experience, and if that business is not already listed on Special Needs Certified, it will now have them showing up on Special Needs Certified. So, Yvette, if you were to go somewhere and have this great experience and you shared it, I don't know, you went to your favorite restaurant and you share about it, is now you've added that business to our website to where now we can contact that business and say, hey, people are coming to visit you, they're enjoying it, we'd love for you to get trained to make sure your staff is trained. And you'll be able to tell whether or not a business has taken the certification yet or not, or if they've just been added on the site because somebody, wrote a review. And so you can do that. You can add photos of the business when you're there.
Wow.
And then we even have a communities page where different users can communicate with one another. They can ask questions. They can, ask, hey, do you know the best car seat for a child who has cerebral palsy? Or do you know the best restaurant in this area to go to? And so we've tried to just make it this great user-friendly environment, very easy to use on your phone. And then as far as businesses, they too would go to our website and they just click on 4 businesses at the top, and they would select, based on their size, which plan they'd want, and then they get access to the training. They can create their own business profile page. And then what's cool is they get their own employee portal. And so a business owner can go into the employee portal and take their own link with a password and send it to all their employees. And so it's that easy. And the training is 3 videos that are going to teach you how to better understand, how to better interact, and then how to provide a good experience and environment as someone.
So I'm hearing that even your training is special needs certified.
That's correct.
So even someone with a special need, because you're using videos and you're using technology that also has different tools for someone who may be sight impaired or otherwise, do I have to pack a lunch? How long is this training
So it's great. I mean, what the best part is coming from the software world.
Okay.
I used to have to do 40 hours of e-learning
Yes.
every 6 months to keep a certain license, which was
My
terrible.
point
And
exactly.
none of us enjoyed it, and our bosses didn't enjoy it. And so what I have told people is there's no way we can ask somebody to take a half day, to take hours. So what we did is we packed a lot of information in, but it takes about approximately 20 minutes
Stop
per
right there.
person.
20 minutes?
That's right.
Okay. Tell us about
So,
that. That's pretty good.
Very simple. 20 minutes, you can even do it on your iPhone. So we work with a lot of young people when you're thinking of movie theaters, retail outlets. And so when we talk to these organizations and talk to restaurants, as we're saying, you don't have to go sit your staff down, and say, okay, everybody now watch this at this one time. They all get access to it. They can watch it on any mobile device, any platform. And so they can watch it in between commercial breaks of their favorite TV show at home. And there are 5 questions that they get asked at the end of each video, and they must get a perfect score to advance to the next one, or they'll get a new set of questions.
Okay.
And they're not necessarily hard or tricky, but we just want to make sure you really watched it.
Got it.
And then at the end, what's great is each individual gets their own certificate to let them know that they've taken it, as well as their manager would then get an email saying, this is to let you know that John has taken the training and has completed it. So that way it's very easy to keep up with, and every business can 100% verify that their employees have taken the training. And so then the businesses get their own, just like you were saying, they get their own window decal for the front of their store that says S&C on it, and it's our logo. And they also get their own electronic web badge that they can now put on their Facebook page, they can put it on their websites, wherever they want to put it, to let people know, hey, we've done this, we know how to treat you very well, we know you're going to feel welcomed here. And the hope is that we continue to educate society as well with it. And there's even a way that just any person can go get certified for $25. They can go to the website and click on Get Certified, and maybe they're a babysitter, or maybe they're just someone that's just like, hey, I should probably just know some of these things, and I should know what to say or what not to say, or how do I interact when I see somebody in a wheelchair, and is there a reason for me to get all uncomfortable and be nervous? And there's not, when you just understand, the proper things to do. And there are, proper and improper things to say and do, and we just want to make sure that everybody knows that, so that, again, our whole mission is to create a society where everyone, regardless of their abilities, feels loved and accepted. And we feel the more people we can educate, the more the chances are that we can make that happen.
That sounds like inclusion.
Right.
Inclusion. We talk about difference. We talk about disability. We talk about special needs. But at the end of the day, the real answer is togetherness, to be inclusive, to be able to take your family with you places you go anyway, to be able to walk into a business, see the decal on the window, and alleviate your own personal fears as someone with a disability or who loves and supports someone with a disability. But even more importantly, the businesses now get this certification and this training that's only 20 minutes long. Now, I know the D word, and this is exactly why we left the name for this show, Disability Life. Yes, it's a lowercase d and an uppercase A, but it's not a word we should fear. It's one we should embrace. It's one we should educate ourselves about. So SNC looks to me as if they're already doing that. My question to you is, I'm going to delay my question and first say thank you as someone with a disability. And then I want to go on to say to you, is this just a Georgia thing? I know you were born and raised here, but is this global? Are you working with any organizations that we might know about if you call their name out?
So for right now, we pretty much can go anywhere where it is English speaking, because that's what our training is in. And so we have businesses in Los Angeles, we have businesses in Washington State, we have businesses in Maine who have all become certified. And so we do have businesses across the country right now who are certified. We're also working with some other organizations, Autism Society of Georgia. We are just starting a partnership with them where they're going to help feed us some resources, because we want to make sure that we are kind of the one-stop shop. And so one of our big dreams is to where the children's hospitals could be telling, a new family, if they just found out their child's going to be born with a disability, of, hey, here's one site you can go to, where you can find, the different doctors you need, the different therapies you need, as well as the different fun places that you might want to go shop, or, go bowling, or go to church, or a city that you might want to go live in. And so that's our dream, is just to provide this one place, to give families a place to go to. And eventually the hope is that we put ourselves out of business. And I always joke with people saying it's pretty ridiculous that we even need a business to teach people how to treat people well.
Right.
And so if one day it's no longer needed because everybody just understands that we should have this inclusive society and we should have this society of love and acceptance, then I will consider that a success on our end.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be great.
So we have something on Disability Life called D-Life Diamonds. D-Life Diamonds are the nuggets and some of the things that we can take with us as we prepare for the next show. Tell me, if you will, as my special guest, Mr. Turner, about a diamond, a nugget, something about D-Life that you'd like to share with our viewers that we can take with us, more portable, and of course, how to find you.
Sure. So it's easy to find us. You can go to specialneedscertified.com to find us. And I would say just a nugget to take with you is just to remember that regardless of who we are, what our abilities are, what we look like, what our race, our religion, or anything is that we all just want this feeling of love and acceptance. And I feel every person, those are two things that every person desires, is to feel loved and accepted. And so whether it is something just as simple as smiling at somebody and saying hello or holding a door open for someone, it's just in everyday life, just try to remember one thing that you can go do for someone, whether it's big or small, of just to continue to spread love and acceptance throughout our world.
I love that. And I'd just like to add to that, if I may, for our D-Lifers out there, whether or not you have a disability, it's not a bad word. And I love that SNC teaches you how to deal and just communicate. Really, it's just, I love that you give a certification to each and every person because you can walk away with that. And more importantly, go to the website. If you are in a business where you have a lot of clientele with disabilities, mention this to your manager. And if you personally have friends and family, or much like in my situation, and something Mr. Turner said earlier, have a member of your family to overnight now be living with a disability and not really sure what to do next, this is a great place to start. So as far as I'm concerned, my diamond is to get educated and give grace to those who just don't know better. That's a very big possibility. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am so happy you tuned in today. I am so excited to have had you on the show today, Mr. Lindsey Turner. And please reconnect with us again on Disability Life TV.